Hi, this is Matt, and you're listening to Bluegrass Jam Along, the podcast for anyone and everyone who loves bluegrass. Hey everybody, welcome back. This is your Bluegrass Briefing for Monday, June 12, 2023. Quick update on the pod. As always, last week we had some new tracks out for Pear Tree, so if you didn't download those, go and grab those and jam along. Also, coming up, I have got an interview this week with Tim O'Brien about his new record, Cup of Sugar, which is a great record and was a really cool chat. So that's coming out this week. And that will be, believe it or not, the 300th episode of Bluegrass Jam Along. Which is, as we say in the UK, slightly bonkers to think that it's that many episodes already. But yeah, there we go, 300. It's been a lot of fun so far, and there's lots more to come. But yeah, exciting times. And one of the things I've got coming up, I've just almost finished work on a new website for the podcast. And the point of the website really is that this new version will help people search those 300 episodes. So you can go and see all the tunes, you can see a list of the interviews, you can filter by tunes by BPM, by jam along tracks, just the performance tracks, whatever you like. And it will hopefully make it a lot easier to find the old stuff because there's hundreds and hundreds of tracks on there now. And, you know, rather than just see what's come up that week on the podcast, it might help people go and find the tunes they want to jam along with. So that's going to be exciting. And I'll let you know about that when it's ready, but it shouldn't be too long now. But that's it. Yep, let's move on to Church Street News. And the first thing on Church Street News is just to say that this weekend coming up is the 50th Telluride Bluegrass Festival. What a thing, what an achievement, what a wonderful part of the bluegrass world that festival is and has become, and so many sort of iconic things we think about come out of that festival and take part of that festival. And yeah, so just congratulations to them and everybody who's going and everybody who's playing. Have a great time. And it will, just on a personal note, it will mark the final performances of Gabe Witcher with Punch Brothers, which is, you know, like a landmark moment, and I'm sure will be emotional for them and for the fans, and so I hope that all goes well. But yeah, Telluride at 50, exciting stuff. Also, Steep Canyon Rangers have a new album due. It's out in September and was produced by Darryl Scott. So that sounds like it's going to be really cool. There's a single out from that now called Hominy Valley, which I've added to the playlist, so that's out now. But the album is out in September, so I'll remind you about that a bit nearer the time. Really looking forward to hearing that. That'd be interesting. And the other thing, final thing in Church Street News is just something that I've spotted. There's a photographer called Scott Simontachi who has taken all sorts of photographs of musicians, but he has put out a series of really limited edition prints on, you know, like sort of photo rag paper and of some iconic bluegrass musicians. They're called the Legends of Bluegrass series, and each one's going to be 50 prints. They're going to be numbered and signed, and then that's it. When they're out, that's done. And the first three, I've seen some images online, just a wonderful photo of Tony Wright. I think maybe my favourite photo of Tony that I've seen was the first one. The second was an Orm Blake one, and the third is Ralph Stanley. And they look stunning. Yeah, they just look like a really cool thing to have on your wall. I will stick a link in the show notes to Scott's Instagram feed where you can go and see the pictures, but also sort of message him and get in touch and get some details there if you want to inquire about those prints. But just go and have a look at them. They are beautiful, beautiful pictures. And that is it for Church Street News. Which brings us on to The Grass is New, and obviously the Steep Canyon Rangers single, that is on the playlist. Go listen to that. That is out now. And this week we've got a couple of new records coming out from some Tims. The Tim O'Brien record is out on Friday, Cup of Sugar. As I said, I've got an interview with him on Wednesday about that record, and that was a delight. I just think Tim's fascinating musician, fascinating character. I think it's one of his best records. I've really been enjoying it. So keep an eye out for that on Friday. But also Tim Stafford. Tim Stafford has a new solo instrumental record called Guitar Melodies, which is out on the 15th as well. 15 new instrumentals, a lot of originals, a couple of covers, and two sort of old public domain tunes, some solos, some duets, a couple of band cuts. Yeah, I'm really interested to hear that. I enjoyed Tim's record with Tom Utz that was out recently, but I'm really interested to hear some more instrumental stuff from Tim, so very much looking forward to that. And I will put something from that in the playlist next week when the record's out, so you can have a listen. That is it for The Grass is New. Which means it is time for Scroll On Buddy. And the first thing I saw was a post on Instagram of Wyatt, Ellis, young mandolin player we've mentioned on the podcast before. Just a really cool picture of him taking part in a thing called Free Guitars for Kids, where they hand out guitars to kids free. It's exactly what it says it is. But what a life-changing thing for some people. And wonderful, like, to see Wyatt, who's like relatively young himself still, kind of taking part in passing that on and getting people involved, and just really cool. So yeah, well done, Wyatt, and that was an exciting thing to see, and what a great initiative. I'll stick a link in the show notes to where you can go and have a look at that. But yeah, that's a really cool thing. And the other thing I was looking through some photos from the Blue Ridge Guitar Camp and the North Carolina Guitar Celebration gig that celebrated Doc Watson, and so many wonderful players and so many wonderful images. And I watched a bit of video, and I was sitting there watching, I think it was Deep River Blues, and just looking at the people playing this song and thinking, wow, what a cool lineup of people that is. There's Bryan Sutton, there's Sierra Hull, there's T. Michael Coleman, there's Justin Moses, there's Jack Lawrence, and just had a moment and thought, you know what, I've interviewed all of those people on this podcast, a couple of them twice at least, and it was around the same time that I realised that this Tim O'Brien episode was going to be the 300th, and it just sort of hit me, because I'm just looking forward with this podcast, really. I'm not looking back too much. I have limited time to do it, so I just do what I do and I get on with it and fit in as much as I can. But seeing that video and seeing that I'd interviewed those people who are all musical heroes for me and for many people, and that I was coming up to the 300th episode and putting this new website together, and just the amount of content that I'd sort of forgotten about some of the interviews, really, like the details of them at least. And just, it's a lot in 2 years, and it's been such a journey, and I'm loving it so much. So yeah, that was a really cool thing, just to look at that and go, wow, how exciting is that, and how far has this podcast come? And thanks to all of you, really, for listening and for being part of it and making it worth doing and like giving it a point, I guess. But yeah, lots more to come. As I say, I'm looking forward rather than back, but it was just a lovely moment to stop and reflect and sort of celebrate where I've come with this. And, you know, it's one of the most meaningful things I've ever done. And I will stop waffling now. But yeah, thank you for listening to all of these episodes, and thanks for listening to the next lot. And that is it for Scroll On Buddy. Just leaves the final bit for me to say what I've been listening to this week. And a lot of the Tim O'Brien record, I've been listening to that a lot. I think it's one of his best records. Just not a bad song on it. It's great. I love it. Just go and listen to it when it's out this week. Also listening to some Clarence White, because I've got this episode coming up that I'm working on at the moment. That's going to be out next month. It's not going to be a long turnaround like the Doc of the Tony ones. It's going to just be the next few weeks, and then it's going to come out. And I will tell you some more details about that when everything's confirmed. I think I'm pretty much confirmed with the final lineup now. But I'll tell you some more about that next week. But that is it. Have a great week. All the usual stuff applies. If you want any more info, go to the website, bluegrassjamalong.com. If you want to review the podcast or rate it on your podcast platform, please do, because it really helps me. If you want to go and subscribe to the YouTube channel, do that as well, because that helps me too. And if there's anything you want me to mention, anything, you know, you're a band, you work in the industry, anything that you think would fit in one of these episodes, please do let me know. That is that for this week. Have a great week, everybody. Happy picking. Bluegrass Jam Along is proud to be sponsored by Collings Guitars and Mandolins, making some of the finest guitars and mandolins in the world since the 1970s. Visit collingsguitars.com and find out why.